Hello future tech leaders, I'm Sindhuja. Based on my own experience, I know that learning the right skills can shape our future. What if I say learning was as thrilled as the tech world itself? There we go. A cloud foundation, that's exactly what you will experience. From day one, you will be immersed in the interactive sessions and expert-led courses that covers most of the widely used technologies in the zone of data science to cloud computing, which brings more light to the life of a techie. I'm so excited to help you and unlock the true potential of a technology. Well, then why to wait? Let's see what it unfolds.
We will talk about the random split. The random split we generally use to split the context without any criteria. Let's say we have a larger audience and we just want to find out the averages and we don't want to mention any criteria. That is the random split. You must have, from a personal experience, this random world many a times. Whenever you don't have any criteria, we have random groups. Then we want to apply a filter for this. We want to select some of the subscribers without any criteria and then we get a random data extension. Then we want to, when we don't have any criteria to apply on a data extension, but still we want to select some of the subscribers. That is called a random data extension. And then we have a random split in which we want to buy from data. We basically want to distribute the context to the different branches. Without any criteria defined, then we can have this random split. Let's talk about the path optimizer. Path optimizer has a name. It is going to optimize the path. Which path is it going to optimize? These are the paths that we are going to add. These are going to be optimized through path optimizer. But what does it mean? How does it and how do we configure this activity? Let's say, here we can test up to 10 different branches and we have seen the A-B testing. Right, when A-B testing, we only have two options. If you want to test a subject line, we can have up to only two different versions and then send these email messages to the test audience and then they will decide that which version is getting us more engagement. But with path optimizers, we are not just going to get the two versions, but we can have up to 10 different paths. What we can do, let's say we have 3 subject lines. We'll try to drop this to here, over here again, over here. And let me add one more path over here. We'll talk about this in a little while. Let's say we have these 3 active branches and we are having all the inequities over here. The first use case could be that if you want to use this as an alternative for A-B testing, because we want to test out many versions of the email message and we want to see that which version gets us a more engagement rate or more open rate, that version will be treated as a winner. And then we will use that version to send out the remaining messages to the customers. Now, this could be another thing, but in A-B testing, we are only limited to the email message. But here we have to test or recurse if we can test the entire path. The second scenario could be, let's say we have a confusion that if you will send SMS first and then the email, we will get more engagement, or if we send email communication, that would be a better option. You have two different paths in which in the first path, we are sending the email only, and the second path, we are sending the SMS and the email communication. We want to test that which version will get which path is performing better. And then going forward, we will be able to do that. Now, when we change to the path optimizer, we can provide activity name and the description. And then the first step that we have is the winner evaluation. In winner evaluation part of the window, we will get the winner. Based on let's say we have this engagement matrix, open rate, and we can't access it. Based on that, we can do it like if marketing can automatically select the winner and make it visible. Otherwise, we can do the selection that we can turn back to the journey anytime, and then we will see which path is profitable. And then based on that, we can be clear that that path has a winner path for it. Or we can have the marketer to select for us and the winner for us. Similar to the testing, we can give the evaluation period for how many days we want for marketing to monitor the activity. And then based on that, it would be clear. This is how we are going to evaluate the winner. And then we have this. We are going to split the context. How many contexts are going to be adapted to a path or B path or C path? We can have different from that. We can have up to 10 paths. There's a limit we cannot have beyond the 10 path and a single path of the myself. And then we can decide the QFP, and let's say I want only 13% of the status to move to the path 1 and the 50.4%. There is a therapy month for moving back to something like that. Next we have a world back. What is the meaning of a world back? Let's say we have 100 subscribers, and out of 100 subscribers, I don't want to see all my subscribers at a custodian's site. What I want to do, that I only want to support the subscribers for like that 40 subscribers will be distributed among 3 different parts. And I'll hold 60 subscribers back that whenever a winner is declared, I will release those subscribers declared to the winner path. That 60% of the subscribers will be it until a winner is declared, and 40% of the products will be used for testing. Now, out of 40%, like we are going to distribute among different parts. And whenever a winner is declared, the remaining subscriber will basically be a world back audience will be routed to the winner path. One more thing over here, that the world back option is only available in the run once schedule. We assume the different schedule option, automation and refilling all these developers. But world back is also available for run once and not for any other option. Let's keep on the summary now. Let's talk about the great activities that we have in the flow parameter. Basically, the flow parameter, we did not talk about it, but we have different categories of activities, messaging activities, in which all the communication activities will be obvious. And on the flow parameter activities, we are going to see all the activities that are going to decide the flow. We do determine the flow of the contact. Now we have the rate activities that we have in the flow parameter. For second phase, we have the base by duration. This is what we have used many times. What is the rate by duration? The rate by duration activity is going to forward the contact until this rate or the rate duration is over. The contact will reach over here, and then the contact will reach for 2 minutes, and then only the format will be reached. And then the contact will reach to the next of them. Rate by duration means that the contact is going to hit for a certain duration of time. Or if you will understand from the activity perspective, that this activity is going to hold the contact for a certain duration of time. Next we have wait until date. Next we have wait until date. Wait until date means that the contact is going to wait until that the specified date occurs. What does it mean? Let's say we have a campaign running, and in this campaign, we don't want the customer to receive the email on weekends. Because on weekends, the engagement rate will be very, very low. Customers are not going to be able to get the email on weekends. What we want to do is that, let's say we are triggering the email today and maybe there is an engagement happening or something like that. And the next email that we want to sell, we only want to sell it on a weekday. What we will do that on next Monday, we are going to sell the email. Let's say after different activities, the customer will reach to the separate activity and they will be equipped. This date occurs, 6, 7, 8, 12 and this time is on. Whenever this date occurs, the phone will be released and they will be sent to the next event. And this time zone is very important because it says that whenever this date occurs and this time occurs in this time zone, right? The Indian time zone would be different and another time zone would be different. Next session we have is wait by attribute. Wait by attribute. What does it mean? That the phone set is going to get based on a value that is saved in an attribute. If we talk about, let's say, a subscription expiration journey, right? What we want to do that before. For example, I'm also the subscriber and there are some 100 subscribers in my data extension. And let's say for me, let's say subscription expiration date is, let's say, tomorrow, right? For somebody, it could be 20th of June. For somebody, it could be 30th of June, right? What we want to do that whenever this date occurs, whenever this expiration date occurs, we want to trigger one email saying that the subscription has expired now. And if you want to resubscribe, then please keep on listening for some time. That is the email communication that we need to send. Here, the contact is like whenever they enter the journey. We are saying, see this where they are entering in the journey. But we are not going to hold that contact, like we are not going to hold each and every contact by same direction of time. But they are going to wait until the subscription expiration date occurs. Here what we need to do, that we need to select one attribute in which we are storing that date. We can pick on the distinction where we have saved the data. And what I'm saying is this. We can have this date before, after and on the screen. Before, like 1 day prior, like whenever this date occurs 1 day prior, like it will release the content. Or whenever this date occurs on that particular date and time, it will release the content. Or like after 1 day, release the content. We are saying that whenever this expiration rate occurs, release the content, and then the content will receive the email message that's saying that your subscription has expired. Like you want to resubscribe, please click on the switch. The subscription expiration rate would be different. The time zone that we need to select that this date and time in this time zone when it will occur, right? Not in any time zone. We have to specify that whenever this date and time occurs in this time zone, then we release the content. Can you please apply any particular date over there? Can we apply any particular date based on attribute? If you want to hard code any value, then we can just wait until after this. Wait by attribute needs that we have this date stored in my data extension, and for each and every content we have different values. It will be same, but it will be different, right? How will we integrate the data in such a way? Also, if I can understand your question correctly, saying that, no, you told you gave an example, right? For each person, that subscription date will be different. How do you mention that value? Where will you mention the value we are mentioning in the data extension itself? You should get into it. We didn't have a good way. Let's see this next version of it, and we have a different. Let's say 20th of June, something like that. This record, this one that will enter into this journey. This is the second. Now the back-end marketing not only pick up this value, right? We are choosing the data. This is. It will pick up this value and it will basically hold the. Thank you. This one, I want to check that where it is, where it will look at the data. I don't know. I'm good. We saw 3 different activities with this. With that, we should get a bit better. One thing that I want to mention is that when we have a seams and you always go with the like, we're going to show them that. But if we have different values, different products, then only go with the. We could have this. And then we have the event. We went basically to talk about the API because to make an event. But how it works is that same. We want to send a confirmation. And let's say we have this website in which we are waiting for the customer to make the payment. And as soon as they make the payment, we are going to send only in the. We don't even lose until that event happens. You know all that, what happened, the journey and worsted of that. You know the major transaction and the event that was then only that contact. Once they make the payment, they will be released and then they will just. The written push engagements are based on the personal indications and just for the check this phone to work, send messages. And then we have this joint activity. We're just let's say we have two different branches in this. We are going to send the email to the location, and for this branch, the board that is going to exit on day 1. We don't want to do that. But what we want is that the contracts will be routed to this branch. We want to merge these two branches, that they can go from this part to this part and they can receive the. We will use the joint activity and will basically drag and drop this. What will happen? That now the contracts will be routed to this part. Now they can go to this upper branch or the upper branch, and then the same activity happens. That is happening for these. That's joint activities basically used to merge two different branches, join two different paths. The other program activities that we saw, in which we can decide the control. We can basically control the flow of the product, that which is about the next to me on customer updates of the store. What is it? That is update, for which you can basically update the contact information in the general. In this case, if you made any, you have many kind of journey, right? And absolutely one day. Where will we find that the error, if any, we did wrong? In this case, if you place the journey builder wrongly, means that we show the error or it will run like what is it? I really did. Basically just for the errors, that whether we have the error or not, and then you throw that. It will show us correctly when you click validate, because you have been modifying here and there the journey, right? Whenever you set it is like running like something, like automate, something like that. We want to find that. This is the place. After some days, we realize that within 2 days, we realize that this is the path we just placed wrongly. In that case, how will you find that? I mean, that is basically like system won't be able to detect that whether this activity at a wrong place or not. That is something that we have to take care of. If you are placing the activities on the correct path or not. Marketing Cloud can detect that. Let's say we are using this email activity and we have not configured the email message properly. Or let's say the email message has some errors within the email activity. The personalization is missing or something like that. Then it will basically check for all these background things and then it will throw the error within the activity. If there is any issue, then it will throw the errors. But where we are placing them, it does not detect. Basically, it is not an error for them. We are intentionally placing them at these places. In this case, after 2 days, also we can replace this SMS. In this path optimizer, you have given SMS as a typical percentage and 33 as email. In this case, we can. Within 2 days or 3 days, we can replace this portion. Yes. And we can modify the date as well. What date? To more than one day. I mean, whatever the change that you want to make. Like if you want to delete the path optimizer activity, if you want to replace any other activities or whatever the modification that you want to go, you can do that even after the 2 days or whatever. Thank you. Let's look at update content activities. What it does, it basically updates the content information back in the data extension. Let's say we have this data extension called Amazon customers. And what we want to do, that we want to capture the status of the content. Whenever they reach a particular activity, we want to basically track that. What is the current status of this content in the journal now? Whenever they reach the update content activity. And where do we want to do that? Let's say we are going to have an operational. We are going to do something based on the current status of this content. Let's say we have this path optimizer and we are sending this email or SMS, or maybe let's say I am deleting this branch for now. One of the branches. One is the email and one is the user. What do we want to do that? Let me show it to you. Let's create one more field called current status and then we store the value of the status of the content. What is the last activity? That we have this limited on the journey and we have this woman is status. And what happens is that whenever they make a payment, we are going to update the data extension whether it is completed or pending. And then what we do, that we are going to send them. The email based on the payment is to us. If it is completed, maybe we are going to send them the claim to me and the British bank. And then we are going to send them this one. The requirement is clear. After that, what we want to do, that we want to have is update contactivity to update the contact record that the email has been sent successful. And then we want to, let's say, we have this system connected and we want to send this data to the sales as well, that the email has been sent successfully to this customer for the phone. We have this marketing team and we have the sales team, and they want to know that whether we have sent a phone to this customer or not. On a daily basis, we want to do that. Or maybe let's say it's for a sales team, but there is an external team and they want to know that today how many followers we have sent or how many customers are there when we have sent a follow-up or anything like that. When we have the data, we can visualize the email. Now let's look at properties and what we are going to do. We will have one more activity called is the email sent. And I'm going to click on the create button. The field is created like we will have all these blank values as of now, and we know, and the values are restored, and this will be helpful. Let's do. I would say we are sending the email communication after this, and then we have this they can do with your. Who's the very? Then the product will reach this activity and they will be updated based on the product that they found that they have made the payment. And let's see what we want to do that. We are going to update, that is in a sense that we will send the same to send them to see that for you. And using this, we can basically figure out how many customers we have sent the email. I mean, that's just this. Thank you. Is there no? That's not. Let's look at the extension. We have this. Define the various. The same thing. When you want to have the same activity again, I sort of get that in the activity from this batch. We, how do you think of this activity? This project will be better than the activity that you want to create, the people and the selection. And then we can now talk about it. Now, this time we just need to make some changes. We will see that for not being. Let's say, remember you can see this. Now what we are doing is that was vulnerable to this decision, but they will be different. And whenever they release this activity, like we are going to this extension and find that that's a B for this completed. And then is basically thank you. Now we must do one thing, that this information we can check over here as well. We can click on this activity and we can see the different formats to whom we have said that we have this. We can basically click on this and we can also check that the different questions that we have said that communication. But we cannot export this data to our system. But here if we see how this data and the data extension, we can export the data, we can run the SQL only data and change the format. Let's do the same with the configures. Now validate the channel. We can do that. Let me stop the version and let me just and then it's still been working. What should happen now? All these two contacts will have the value as thank you. And for the remainder it will be. That's it. If you want to update the contact information back in the extension, right, we can use this update contact activity. Only one person. We are having this one. We cannot. What we need to do, we need to stop this version and then we have to create a draft version which will be the editable version. And then we can move it. Let me just delete these activities. Let's imagine that they have. This is the big thing. We have this over here and then we will update the contact information. Now let's see if the changes are done. Let's wait for a few seconds. The contact center, which only the contacts are going to go into the journey. We are sending the link email and the payment. The status of the two. Now what we can do is, you can see we can export the data and see how many customers get sent by the mail. And we're going to do this is because of the support that we have sent. Let's see, we have 100 subscribers and put it in the same 70. And out of 70, we can be that how many we are sending on a daily basis. This is the report. And it is also important because many times what happens that because of some issue in the journey, the contacts doesn't reach to the email activity. If they will not reach the email activity, the contact will not be. These status will not be updated. This status is not updated. We can see that. We can see that the email has not been sent here. We can check. We can go back to the journey and we can see what is the issue with these contacts. Why did they not just see that? For in a couple of contacts, the issue doesn't occur. But when we have a live journey in which we have, let's say, 1 Lambda students, like we have seen this issue and that one person, the subscriber doesn't reach to they reach the email activity, but they do not receive the email message. They don't pass through this activity. They don't basically cross this activity. In that case also, the update is very helpful because we can just go to the data extension and we can see like all the reports where this is emails and is the customer. And we can check that to how many contacts we have not sent the email yet. Next, we have Sales and Service Cloud activities. Since the account is not integrated with any other Salesforce org, I won't be able to show you this in action, but we can go to the theory part to understand that what this activity does and the functionality and opportunity. All this Service Cloud activities helps us to connect with the Salesforce data. Let's say if you talk about the contact activity. With the help of this activity, we can create a new contact in Salesforce and we can update our contact information in Salesforce. We have a contact object in Salesforce and we have a contact object in Salesforce. And if you want to update the contact data, you can do that. Similarly, we have all these standard objects like task account, chief opportunity case, campaign member. All these are the standard objects in Salesforce. And if you want to create a new report in that table or update a report, you can do that. Now, object activity, we can use this to create a new report in any of the custom objects. If you're familiar with the Salesforce, then you must know that we have two different objects, two different types of objects in Salesforce. One is the standard and the other ones are the custom objects. Custom objects that we are creating, standard ones are created by system itself. These are the standard objects, task account, lead opportunity. And if you are creating an object from our side, that would be considered as a custom object. Using the object activity, we can insert a report or basically create a report in any of the custom objects. And then we have the convert lead. In Salesforce, we have an option to convert a lead. Whenever there's a prospective customer, there's a lead and then this prospective customer becomes a customer. Let's say I am a lead. I am interested in purchasing a car and at some point of time I purchase a car. It means now I become a customer for the organization, for the car company. They want to convert a lead into a customer. Whenever we convert a lead into a customer, there's an entire mechanism which is there in the Salesforce. Using this activity, we can convert a lead in Salesforce as well. Basically, whatever the different operations that we want to perform on a Salesforce site, net decoration or the update or these kind of things, we can do that with the help of these activities and marketing through our journey. Interaction is to be the activity. This activity is basically for the interaction. You will take it later. Naturally, we are not covering the interaction studio. Basically, this is the entire different tool called Evergorge. Now it is integrated with marketing, but it has different credentials and other things. Now, once we have completed all the entry sources and different activities that we have in the journey, let's talk about the different options that we can see on the menu, like on this toolbar. We have this undo redo button. Using the undo, let's say by mistake, I have, drag and drop one activity and I want to do this undo. I can just say, I can just undo activity, and if I want to reboot, we can do that. We have a few minutes left. I will talk about the version system in Journey. Where do we need the version? What are the different versions? We can create different things, but this will take some time. We will talk about it. Because the toggle sidebar basically helps us to hide and show the sidebar. We can toggle and hide and show the sidebar that we have. Using the propy activity, we can propy any of the activities that we don't have to reconfigure it. And we can just have it configured, whatever the activities that we have already configured. We'll talk about this goal and the exit criteria in the good member session. And then we have general settings and talk about this. Save, validate and test as well. Let's talk about the test for now because this will take less time. Once we have validated the journal, we have this option called Test Journal. With the help of this, what we can do? We can check that the quantity that is going to enter into the journal, which path is going to be taken up by this customer, and we can see whether it is correct or not. Let me select Adriatic extension first of all. I think this is the one. This is from our entry source, and let's say I'll go to the info that I want to say that whether in class is taking the expected path or not. I'll select this contact, or maybe let's say I'll take it. And then we have the send file, do not send messages, and that test behavior. I can go to the summary. Well, say they start test. What it will do is it will show me that the different contacts which path they are going to take. Then they will enter into the journal after the activation. We can see that in class is going to take this path whenever the journal will be activated. This is the path, and if you're anticipating now, in class should have taken another path, then we can basically make some changes in the journal, or basically we can fix the data or whatever it is. We can just test it that whether the quantity is taking the expected path or not. And if it is taking the path that we had anticipated, then I think we are good. Otherwise, we can make some changes. For Ram, let's say for Raj, just checking this path only. Since the payment is yesterday's computer, it will take this path only. It means it is correct only. Let's say we have multiple decisions, splits in my journey, and we have in class activities, and we want to say that what is the entire path that will be eaten up by this one time. If it is in a correct way, then we are good. Otherwise, we can make some changes. And finally, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.